What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So in this video, I wanted to go over stocks and companies that are actually headquartered and actually based out of Israel that are selling off today, that are down like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. We've been talking about this in our Discord all day long. And these are companies that are actually listed on the US markets as well. These are companies that we have talked about on the channel before. And I've done several videos on these companies. So you can actually go back and watch the videos and the stock analysis on these companies as well. One of them, I in fact talked about last week. And now it is down. Actually, at one point it was down over 6%, 7%, and of course since then it has recovered quite well. So hope you guys enjoy this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, that's all I'm asking in return, is that you subscribe and drop a like. And link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below, and we'd love to have you on board as a MoneyVest member, because we're doing a lot of individual stock analysis, so you will basically get a lot of research and individual stock reports. So for example, this right here is our brand new discussions tab, where you can start conversations and engage with other members, and it's going to be under the stock reports channel, where you can basically access a lot of these individual stock reports that we are creating. You can critique, and you can also start that discussion for different companies, right? So it's going to be very, very collaborative effort from all of you guys. That's going to help you in your investing journey, and of course your stock analysis journey as well. So links are going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. So this is basically a heat map for a lot of Israeli-based companies that are listed on the US stock exchange. I mean, we've got, companies like Solar Edge that's down over 4.7%. We've got, Zim Integrated Shipping. We've talked about this company so much. It's down almost 1%. InMode, of course, one of my favorites, down over 3.85%. And, this right here, Israel exposed stocks fall on fears of escalation in the Middle East conflict. Now, first of all, I want to preface by saying that my heart definitely goes out. I mean, some of the videos and photos I've been seeing on Twitter, on YouTube, on a lot of these other social media channels has been absolutely soul crushing, right? I mean, the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas attacking, Israel, and of course, there's just so much that's going on with civilians and innocent people that are kind of getting caught up in the middle of all this. It's very, very heartbreaking. So I'm really hoping and I'm praying that this conflict ends soon, and there's as little damage as possible, so that the world gets better, and of course there's peace. But there's, in my opinion, the Census channel is very much focused on the markets. I want to still bring you guys opportunities, and there are a lot of companies that are getting affected by this, that are selling off. That seems to be a bit of an overreaction, which I want to present in this video. Now, in the past, this has been going on for quite some time. This is not the first time, we know that Israel and Palestine are kind of going at each other. It's been going on, for a very long time. And a lot of times, I mean, these wars usually do end in a few days. It's not like the Russia-Ukraine war, which has been going on for several years, but it's more like days we're talking, right? Even weeks. We're looking at 10 to 15 days, when a lot of the times in the past, these wars have come to a conclusion within just a few days. So if that actually were to be the case, there's a lot of overreaction for a lot of these companies that I mentioned. I'll go over some of the ones that I actually do like within this sector, and which ones I'm actually personally buying right now. So if the war remains confined between Israel and Palestinians, it's likely that the markets will forget about it after a few days. This was Rafi Boyadijan, lead investment analyst at XM, said in a note. However, even if that turns out to be the case, the long-term peace prospects have diminished, as the violence has probably dampened hopes of a normalization of relations between Israel and the regional power Saudi Arabia. Now, there's already a peace deal in place between Israel and the UAE, but there's nothing between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which was obviously being discussed upon, and there's obviously going to be somewhat of a more challenging environment now in the Middle East, especially when it comes to Israel being surrounded by a lot of these countries, and more specifically Palestinians, that there's been a lot of conflict over the last several decades. And there's obviously been some speculation that Iran's been involved, but then I saw another news piece and the video that Iran mentioned that they're not involved, and the $6 billion that the U.S. gave them is going towards humanitarian purposes, and they're going to use that however they see fit, whatever that means. But that video, I'm gonna share the link in the Discord if anybody wants to watch. But bottom line is, these are sort of like filtered out companies in Israel that are profitable, that are trading below a 20 PE, and are looking at very nice consistent return on equity, common invested capital, and not to mention the valuation is also quite reasonable, right? So we got Checkpoint Software Technologies, one of the biggest companies actually in Israel. We got ICL Group, we got SolarEdge, we got Nova, we got Tower Semiconductors, we got InMode, of course, we got Perion Network. It's actually a very good company, PERI, Zim Integrated Shipping. Not a huge fan of this one. I've already talked about how COVID was one of the reasons why this stock actually did really well, but now it's been selling off. And we got Magic Software Enterprises, International General Insurance Holding Companies as well. Now, this right here is where InMode is, right? So I wanted to bring this up for you to better understand how far InMode is to where everything is happening. So it is north of Tel Aviv, like all the way up over here is where InMode really is, headquartered wise. Jerusalem over here, and this is where everything is taking place, of course, in Gaza, the Strip of Gaza, and then, of course, Egypt down south, and this right here is Israel. And then the West Bank is going to be somewhere over here as well. I think it's going to be right over here, the West Bank. I'm just going to put that over there. But InMode is like all the way north of Tel Aviv in Israel. So not that they're not going to get affected because they are based out of Israel, right? At the end of the day, this is a company that's in a country which is considered as a war zone, right? Because there's two parties, one country and one terrorist group going at each other. So there's definitely risk involved. And that's exactly why I want to present this, that look, this is a company that I really like. InMode, I've invested in them before. It's got excellent fundamentals. So if you come over to, InMode over here, take a look at the forward price to earnings multiple, it's trading at 9. Right, 9 times earnings multiple. We got a price to sales at 4.6, price to book 3.4, price to cash at sitting at 3.6. Right, so it's got a really low P multiple. Not to mention, if you take a look at the proficiency, sort of like the valuation multiples and how efficient it is the very best. Right, so among all these 14 stocks based out of Israel, and all of them right now, they've kind of filtered it down by profitable and companies that are trading at reasonable to low multiples. This is the one that has over 29, 32, 27% return on assets, return on equity, and return on invested capital. Current ratio, look at that, 11.84. Their balance sheet is what really separates them with everybody else, right? Yes, some other companies actually have good balance sheets as well. So for example, Tower Semiconductor is also pretty good, 4.77 current ratio, very strong return on invested capital, equity, and assets, but it's nothing, right? Nothing compared to that of InMode. This right here is going to be the valuation that we already gone over, but this is just a phenomenal number in terms of the efficiency and the profitability for the company. Now, a few more companies that I want to go over. SolarEdge is also north of Tel Aviv, so it is quite far away from where everything is taking place in Gaza. So that's going to be SolarEdge headquarters, also all the way over there. And SolarEdge SEDG is also trading at quite reasonable multiples. We're looking at 11 times earnings, a little bit under 2 times sales, over 2.6 times book, and over 6 times cash. And SolarEdge also has some reasonable, I would say, 7% return on assets, 13.3% equity returns, and 9.3% return on invested capital, with a little bit under 4 times current ratio. So if you come over to some of the companies that are actually selling off, so for example, InMode, INMD. So what I did personally, I actually ended up buying InMode today at $27, started a new position because I just think that it's way too oversold on a weekly time frame. RSI is coming down, MACD is coming down. At one point it was down over 6%. Now it's back up to almost 28. And not to mention that we also have SolarEdge SEDG that's just been selling off aggressively. Week after week, it's just been on a consistent slide lower. Very oversold. It hasn't recovered all that much, but it's almost back up to $119. Still down over 4.2%. And then finally, Zim Integrated Shipping, that I don't necessarily like all that much because this is a company that's very much dependent on container ships and the cyclicality of the prices of container ships. So I'm not a huge fan of Zim Integrated Shipping, but yes, this is also a company that's based out of Israel that's getting affected. At the moment, was trading down to 928. It's back up to over 980 at the moment. So, and then finally, TESL, that's going to be Tower Semiconductor. Let's just go over that very quickly. So Tower TSEM. So this is a company that we're talking about here. Let me just quickly go over. That's going to be TSEM. Yep, so TSEM based, listed on the NASDAQ, incredibly oversold right now. And this right here was the overall uptrending channel of higher highs and higher lows. And again, you can see that annually it's been growing revenues, growing profitability, down 46% year to date, and it's got negative net debt, so more cash than debt on the balance sheet. So a lot of these companies right now, InMode's my favorite at the moment because, this is a company that has a very low, little to none bankruptcy risk, excellent balance sheet, and not to mention, consistently growing revenues, very high profit margins as well. But at the same time, you have to understand that these geopolitical risks, there's no guarantee how this ends up playing out. So there's a lot of uncertainty around that. And for those reasons, I want you guys to understand that, okay, even a great company like InMode can be risky considering there's that overhang with that geopolitical risk. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this, about these companies? I like InMode. Like I said, I actually ended up picking up some shares at $27 and will most likely buy more. But a lot of that, is going to be that uncertainty depending on what goes on over the coming days and coming weeks between Israel and the Hamas group as well. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? As always, if you enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord, Patreon is going to be down below. And as always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.